contribute and continue the debate is BuzzFeed news reporter Rosie Gray. Now, I got to say this. You're pretty left of center. Fair?
You don't know anything about my politics, John.
All right. You have written a lot about alt-right.
That's right.
Okay, and you asked me, do I deplore racism, anti-Semitism? 1,000%.
I'm glad to hear it.
And so does all conservatives. Why do I believe this is an attempt by the left to alter the lexicon so alt-right will mean conservatives, just like every 4 years conservatives are told they're racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic?
Listen, the alt-right is not some sort of attempt by the so-called liberal media to smear conservatives. I've been very clear in my coverage of the alt-right that they are not actually a conservative group. Part of their political project is to dismantle the conservative movement. So, look, this isn't something that I condemn. This is a real movement that's happening right now.
Okay, and you got this one guy, Spencer, whoever he is, and apparently there's a picture that looks like he's doing a Nazi salute.
Well, there's a video that shows people at that conference this past weekend giving Nazi salutes.
All right. Do you think any conservative, and Donald Trump was actually asked, or somebody from the New York Times tweeted about the meeting, and he said, Trump on alt-right supporters, it's not a group I want to energize. And if they're energized, I'll find out why. He doesn't want any part of these people.
I think it's great that Donald Trump finally disavowed them. He was slow to do that before when he was asked.
No, he disavowed David Duke numerous times.
He was slow to disavow David Duke. Jake Tapper asked him about it in an interview.
I don't even think he heard him or understood him. I don't even think we should have asked him if he knew who even David Duke was. Most people have no idea.
I'm sure Donald Trump probably knows who David Duke is.
But you know what? He doesn't support David Duke. No. There's nothing in his history that shows of racism or anti-Semitism. And if it did, you know what? Conservatives like me wouldn't support somebody like that. You understand that? Mainstream conservatives.
Sure.
All right, here's my question. Would you say, like I have a tape of a group, believe it or not, there's a White Lives Matter group, and they were in Austin, Texas. I want you to watch this tape where they're shouting, F the police, etc., and then they're counting down. What do we want? A dead cop, one. After we have one, we want two, and they keep counting and counting more dead cops. Watch this. All right, I was asking you on Twitter if it was appropriate. That's a White Lives Matter group. I would never want them in a Trump White House. Ever. I never even heard of this group, but they showed up in Austin, Texas. Now, I've played this many times on my program. Let's go to Black Lives Matter.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. 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 Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
So if the people in Texas, I'll concede, all right, they're alt-right. Aren't those people that were chanting that alt-left, alt-radical left? And why would you accept that they can go to the Obama White House?
Well, look, I don't think it's those specific people who went to the Obama White House, right? I think you're doing a little bit of a rhetorical trick here, where you are extrapolating from...
Wait a minute. If Donald Trump invited a Klan member to the White House, okay, somebody that was part of the group...
So are you comparing Black Lives Matter to the Ku Klux Klan?
I am saying Black Lives Matter that calls for dead cops now is so incendiary and so outrageous that every rational American should be outraged, including you.
Look, I think
why are you not outraged?
I think we can all agree that those statements that are in the videos that we just watched are incendiary. Absolutely.
You don't think you think that's appropriate to invite people from that group to the Obama White House? Really?
You're taking a couple isolated incidents to extrapolate about.
Did you hear how loud that was? How many people?
I don't think that the leaders who Obama invited to the White House were involved in those specific incidents.
Have those leaders decried? Have they condemned those statements?
I'm not actually sure about that.
Here's my question, though, because I think you're a nice person. Do you think, if you're going to say alt-right, that we can say those groups are alt-left?
I think that you can say whatever it is you want to say. I haven't really heard you take a firm position on the alt-right, though, which is a real movement.
Listen,
I mean, do you condemn the actual alt-right?
You asked me the other day on Twitter. I said, I don't even know these people. I've never heard of most of these people. Anybody that puts up a Nazi salute, anybody that's racist, anybody that's anti-Semitic has zero place in the conservative movement. I condemn them. I condemn their views. I condemn everything about them.
Look, I'm
And I
glad to
don't
hear
want
that, Sean,
anything to
because
do with
you're
those people.
you're obviously a very influential person. You have a huge reach. You have this Fox News show. You have a radio show that has millions of listeners.
Yes.
You have a lot of power to determine, who
And
is
you
sort of
are
accepted
a
on the right.
reporter for BuzzFeed. You have a lot of
I don't
influence
have
too.
any influence compared to you, Sean. So what I'm saying is, you saying that you condemn the alt-right movement would be a very powerful thing.
I am saying anybody that does a Nazi salute, anybody that believes in those values, anybody that's racist in any way, shape, manner, or form, anti-Semitic in any way, shape, manner, or form, has absolutely no place in the modern conservative movement or being near Donald Trump. So I'll turn it on you. Do you say that anybody that chants pigs in a blanket fry 'em like bacon, or what do we want, dead cops, they have no business being in the Obama White House? Will you agree with that?
Again, I don't think those specific people are in the Obama White House.
So should members of that group be in the Obama White House?
Look, Sean, I'm not
answer's no.
like you. I'm not a pundit. I'm a reporter.
Okay, but you have a lot of influence, and if you're gonna press me to give you an answer, I answered honestly. Why won't you say what is so obvious? They have no business, that group, in the Obama White House. None.
Look,
Anybody
again,
associated with them, no business there.
Look, I still think that you're doing a thing where you're trying to equate Black Lives Matter with the alt-right. I just don't think we're talking about the same thing.
You just
the
heard them
alt-right,
chanting they want dead policemen.
the alt-right is a group whose leadership
No, deal
espouses
with the dead
racist
policeman
views.
comments. They're shouting it, and there's large numbers of them.
Look, Sean, we agree that those statements are not acceptable statements to make.
So
we can
then they
agree
should.
on that.
So anybody associated with that group should not be in the White House.
I agree with you that people
All right, I
who
got a
make
break.
those sorts of statements shouldn't be in the White House. Sure,
All right, was I fair?
you were fair.
All right. Thank you, Rosie.
Thank you.